The proper hop. A mathematics story for primary school children. As swamps go, none was finer than Sugar Swamp. During the warm days, all of the frogs hopped and flopped around whenever they felt like it. But mainly, they just sat around listening to the ducks quack, or waiting for the flies to come too close. Just before sunset, all of the frogs would climb onto their lily pads. The last frog to climb onto his pad was always Beauregard, the biggest, grandest bullfrog in the swamp. The swamp would become very quiet as Beauregard studied the last sliver of sun, falling away behind the hills. Then, when the time was just right, Beauregard would blow himself up to a wonder size. And then, he would let out the first, deep, barumph of the evening. And that would start all of the frogs barumphing and knee-deeping. The croaking would last until dark. Then, the frogs would hop and flop around again, and visit each other. They might talk about the ducks, or about who had the quickest tongue in the swamp for catching flies, or about how well the evening croaking had gone. One evening, after the croaking, little Frida Frog hopped over to Beauregard's pad for a visit. She had exciting news. Dolores Duck built a new nest today, she told Beauregard, and it's very close to your pad. Wonderful, croaked Beauregard. Where is it? Toward the big cattail, Frida told him. Only 8 hops from your pad. Beauregard decided to see the new nest at once, even though it was already too dark to see. He started hopping toward the big cattail, counting his hops as he went. A 1. A 2. A 3. Ah, kerplop. At the end of the 4th hop he landed squarely on top of poor sleeping Dolores Duck. Well, needless to say, Dolores Duck was frightened terribly. She jumped and quacked and flapped and sent Beauregard flying, kerplop, right back on his own pad. Did you see it already? Asked Frida. See it? Croaked Beauregard. I did better than that. I landed right on top of it. How far did you say it was? Oh, not far at all. Frida replied. Only 8 hops from here. 8 hops indeed, Beauregard grumbled. Beauregard spent the rest of the night thinking. I believe I understand. He finally decided. My hops are a lot bigger than little Frida's hops. It takes 8 of her little hops to reach the duck's nest. But it only takes 4 of my big hops. But if everybody hopped the same hops, then 8 hops away would be 8 hops for every frog. That's it. Beauregard decided to call an all-swamp meeting the very next morning. As soon as it was light, Beauregard climbed onto his pad and barumphed loudly to call a swamp meeting to order. Of course, all of the frogs in the swamp climbed onto their own lily pads to hear what Beauregard had on his mind. We have a problem, croaked Beauregard. The way we hop and flop around this swamp is a disgrace to all frogs. What we need here is a few lessons in proper hopping. Tell me, what does it mean when you say that it's 8 hops from my pad to the duck's nest? I'll tell you what it means. Not much. And that's because nobody cares about how long a proper hop should be. We have little hops, big hops, crooked hops, straight hops, floppy hops, sloppy hops. It's a disgrace. What this swamp news is a proper hop. Beauregard had blown himself up to almost twice his normal size. Every frog in the swamp could plainly see that he meant business. He was nearly ready to pop. Beauregard croaked and barumphed and knee-deep a few times to let out some air. Then, he went on. I direct your attention to the dry place in the swamp, he said smartly. I have made hopping paths. And observe, each hopping path is marked off in proper hops. Every frog will practice 1 hour each day. You will start on a pad marked 0. Then, you will hop. At the end of 1 hop, you will land at 1. At the end of the second hop, you will land squarely at 2. The numbers and pads are exactly one proper hop apart. So, you will practice and practice, until you can make 10 proper hops with your eyes closed. Are there any questions? Even if there were questions, no frog dared to ask. All right, then, croaked Beauregard, to get the hops right, you little frogs will have to hop hard, and you big frogs will have to calm down. And remember, count your hops as you go. All right, practice begins now. Let's hop to it. Things went badly at first. The frogs simply weren't able to do proper hops and count at the same time. It was just too much at once on a frog's mind. But Beauregard did not give up. Practice, he croaked. Practice makes perfect. And it did. In a few weeks every frog in Sugar Swamp could hop in perfect proper hops. The frogs even learned to count silently to themselves as they hopped. Now it means something when a frog in Sugar Swamp says, "It's 5 hops from the cattail to the nest." Every other frog knows exactly how far it is. It's 5 proper hops. And every proper hop is exactly 1 proper hop long. No more. And no less.